for the week. You can always email me if anything is on your mind, hopefully relevant to the show. Like, I don't know anything about cats, for example, so like don't write to me with cat questions, but anything relevant to the show, you can email info@davidpakman.com. We will sometimes highlight comments on YouTube or Spotify comments, TikTok, who knows. We start today with Spotify, and this is something Spotify related, and we've been hearing from a lot of people, but I'll just highlight a couple of comments. Juan said, we finally have the video version on Spotify. And Chris said, yay, video version, thanks. So yes, we have finally come into the 21st century, I guess, or something. The video version of the show is now on Spotify. And you might be saying to yourself, why didn't we do that sooner? It's not all pros when it comes to the video version on Spotify. And there's a bunch of technical stuff that goes on behind the scenes, including how views versus IAB compliant podcast downloads are calculated. I mean, if I wanted to really bomb the show, I would turn it into a show about podcast statistics. But needless to say, the video version of the show is now available on Spotify, and you can seamlessly go from watching to listening. So that's a cool thing, and I think overall people are liking it. All right, now more substantively, Ron Santucci wrote on Facebook about how our elections are organized, popular vote, electoral college, etc. Ron writes, I have an idea. Whatever percentage of the popular vote a presidential candidate receives in each state equals the percentage of electoral votes that candidates get. That method would work both ways and would reflect the popular vote also. To which Patrick Baker responds, or just add up all the popular votes. So Ron's thinking, which is a good first step, Ron is thinking of a way for the electoral vote to more closely approximate the popular vote. But here's the problem with this idea. Imagine a state that has 4 electoral votes. There's only a few combinations of how you can divvy up those votes. If you have 4 votes, one candidate gets 4, or the other candidate gets 4, or you divide them 1-3, 2-2, or 3-1. The problem with this idea is, imagine a scenario where the popular vote is something like 57-43. The options are, you either give the candidate that won 57 50% of the electoral votes by giving them 2, or 75% of the electoral votes by giving them 3. That's not really great. And so this is why I favor a national popular vote. I think Patrick is completely correct. It's not only more accurate, it's simpler, and it will work far better. If there's something I'm missing about the strategy or the nuances of this, let me know. But with a national popular vote, it's simply, these are the results. 51.76% of the country voted for one candidate. Well, then they win. They got more than half the vote. That's it. All right. Michael McKinnon wrote on Facebook, why were there kids working the spa in the first place? Let me explain what this is about. Donald Trump has gone back and forth and changed his explanations as to why he and Jeffrey Epstein had a falling out. One of the latest version of this from Trump was, Epstein stole an employee out from under me, an underage employee from my spa. And the question that Michael is asking is a good one, and it is a reasonable one. The question is, why are there underage girls working at a spa in the first place? And the answer is, I think that this is a lot more common than people believe. Let's put a 17-year-old doing reception. They're legally allowed to work. Obviously, it wouldn't be legal for them to be engaged in what could be tantamount to prostitution. That's a different story. But I don't think it's that rare. I mean, listen, I think the place where I get my hair cut, the receptionist is someone's kid who's 16 or 17 and is working after school hours. So I don't think that's as rare as people think. Obviously, girl end up out in a different, working with Epstein and allegedly being victimized. That seems to be the question. All right. Questions about the books behind me at a primary studio. Has David been hiding a stack of Bionicle books in plain sight the whole time? Yeah, there are these books that are stacked vertically over my right shoulder at the main studio where I am not today. And they are very short introductions. I've gotten a ton of emails and questions about this. They are not Bionicle. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with Bionicle, but they are very short introductions. And as different books are added and moved, those will move around. And I think that that's something exciting to look forward to. Okay, let's go now over to Reddit. Lulu McGoo says the media needs to confront Trump about the Epstein survivors. I've been hearing similar ideas from others of you. And what Lulu Magoo says is, dude, the media needs to pin DJT down. Him, the press secretary, Pam Bondi, and Todd Blanche. They need to be asked over and over if they have talked to the victims about what they think about Maxwell's special treatment. I'm really disturbed that the media doesn't think about confronting their lack of empathy or care for them, and they need to be called out for it. There's two sides to this, and this is where empathy meets reality. On the one hand, it's absolutely a fair observation, an accurate observation, that the victims and the fact that they were victimized and what that did to them and their families, it's essentially missing from the discussion that is centered around, is Trump in the Epstein files? Is he considering giving Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon? It's completely missing from that. And that is, in a sense, insensitive. The other side to it is that as a political story that has the potential to derail, I guess, Donald Trump's presidency or destroy his legacy or whatever, it's so, this is a crass thing to say, and I don't mean to be insensitive when I say it. It really is irrelevant in the sense of, we know there were victims, and the question is, was Trump a perpetrator? Was Trump participating in some kind of cover-up? So empathy for the victims, while admittedly missing from the national narrative, is not something that's going to get attention because it does not relate to Trump's legacy, Trump's culpability, etc. It's just the reality. It's just the reality. Over on Spotify, I am asked about civil war. David, do you now believe that we are closer to a civil war as everything that is currently happening seems like the prequel? So let me give you some background as to why I'm being asked the question in this way. I've previously said that the fear-mongering about civil war has been overblown. And there's an important distinction to make here, which is that a lot of the people predicting civil war for the last 6, 8, 10 years, they've been predicting civil war on the basis that it is going to be the left that starts a civil war or revolts or something like that. But I think the context in which I think about this today is more the division where we find ourselves, not sort of about democracy itself, but about what is going to happen as a result of the authoritarian escalations of Trump. And so I'm going to come back to that. Do I think we are closer to a civil war today than at any point that I've been doing the show? Yes, I do. But do I think that that's the case because the left wants a civil war? No. The reason I believe we are closer to a civil war than ever before is because we are seeing a president do the sorts of things that sometimes cause civil wars for the first time since I've been doing the show. The deployment of the military for domestic law enforcement, really going forward with a police state, talking about maybe I'll run again in 2028. It's not about Democrats, Republicans fomenting civil war and rhetoric. It's about Trump is objectively doing the sorts of things that can be catalysts for civil war. I don't say that to say I think civil war is imminent, but I certainly do think that we are closer to civil war than at any time that I've been doing this show, which, by the way, It just hit 20 years. I don't know if it was earlier. We're like right around with the new baby. I've totally lost track, but the show's been around about 20 years, which is crazy because it means I started the show when I was 6 years old. Hard to believe. Catch Lobo said on Twitter, "Your name is misspelled. David Pack Woman fixed." Two things here. Number one, many people ask me, David, why don't you engage in the comments on Twitter anymore? This is why. No matter what I post to Twitter, a third of the replies are like porn bots. And then almost 2/3 of the replies are just crap like this. I'm just not going to wade through all of that. I'm sorry. I'm too busy. I'm not going to do it. But one of the things that hasn't changed in the 20 years doing the show is that I get a lot of this homophobic type stuff. David Pack Woman. It used to be, David, you only care about gay rights because you're gay, or other words were used for I'm gay. Hard to imagine I could just think that gay people should be able to get married, right? Hard to imagine. It seems as though this sort of inherent homophobia is not something that is going away anytime soon. We've got legal gay marriage. So many things have changed in the time I've been doing the show. And yet I still get this sort of comment. All right, weighing in on the Trump health situation. There were hundreds of messages like this I could have selected, but I'm selecting one. Tom Prickett wrote on YouTube, "There is no way Trump makes it to the end of this term." Like never before. Listen, Trump's been an old guy for a while. Trump's been obese for a long time. Trump's eaten a terrible diet for a long time. Trump's been sedentary for a long time. There has never been a period in the history of Trump's political career that I have received so many emails from people saying, this guy is not going to survive much longer. And I am opting not to really weigh in on that. It could sort of be a little crass to do so. I will just tell you, there are such things as actuarial tables that predict how long people will live based on symptoms, based on level of physical activity, based on height and weight, based on different things. And Donald Trump has significant risk factors. Let me put it there and avoid going further. Email me anytime, info@davidpakman.com. Look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you on the bonus show.